it's like the loaves and fishes. There's always going to be room in the circle.
Right.
So more people will probably continue to come, but we'll just make sure that they're included in our circle today. So I just wanted to welcome everyone. My name is Sarah Neary, and I'm the Volunteer Program Coordinator at Iowa City Hospice. And the reason that I'm introducing Barbara today is because Iowa City Hospice is sponsoring her presence here today, in part because we really value the power of music. We employ certified professional music therapists that provide that kind of musical interaction with our patients that is a very powerful intervention. But we also just really value, as does Barbara, the power of music as a way to connect and to communicate with each other and connect with our innermost selves. So I always love it when my professional life intersects with something that personally is very valuable to me. And I had the experience of meeting Barbara several years back at a retreat at Prairie Woods up in Hiawatha. Highly recommended if you haven't been there. And it was called Full Voice, Finding Your Voice, or it's based on her book, Full Voice, The Art and Practice of Vocal Presence. And I had just been through the loss of a significant other through death and felt some grief kind of stuck in my throat that I thought perhaps we would address through some lectures and discussions and practices. And all we did was sing the entire time. And then we were in a big circle just like this. And I have been singing in some way or another ever since.
Wonderful.
And thanks to Barbara, and thanks to the people in Iowa that she's mentoring who are planting the seeds of this movement of creative, gathering around the campfire, so to speak, and singing together as a way to just celebrate our shared humanity. So thank you for your willingness to join us today and to come to the circle and to share your voice, if that's comfortable for you, or just receive the benefit of the sounds of the people around you. We just really want to encourage whatever you want to express, it's safe to do so here, and whatever you want to keep to yourself, that's honored as well. So please help me in welcoming Barbara McAfee.
Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. I'm going to go now. I got what I came for. Well, that is a little song that every time my little comfort choir, the Morning Star Singers, gathers to rehearse or goes to sing at the long-term acute care hospital or goes to sing in a home or a hospice, that is the song we always start with. It's like our invocation. And it's a way for us to remember what we're doing. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary. You know, all of that. It's sort of like, okay, now, this is not about my ego. This is not about making perfection. This is about being present. Like, hello, wake up. And it also helps us listen to each other because we're always different groups. You know, every rehearsal is different people, and every group goes out. It might be 4 or 5, 6, 8 people, and it's always different people. So we can kind of listen to who's there. We get acquainted with each other's voices that way. So by singing, thank you for those of you who jumped right in. We'll do more singing today. But I feel like I sang that to bring myself here to this conversation, but also to bring my friends. My friends with whom I sing, and all of the people we've sung for over the almost 8 years we've been together, because they're all inside that song too. So I have lots of angels hovering around. And I'm just going to cry a lot today because I'm really touched by this work. So I'm fine. I'm just moist. And I invite all your feelings as well. So it's a safe space. So here's mine. My great teachers in this life have been singing, love, death, and nature. Is that it? Yeah. Singing, love, death, and nature. And in this work, nature is always everywhere because we are nature. But in this work, all of those things have come together very beautifully. I grew up singing in choirs, had lots of stage fright about perfection and performance, and have found my way out the other end of that. Gratefully, through some good teachers and lots of stubbornness. And one of the things that I got really clear about when I was singing jazz in clubs for about 10 minutes back in the 80s was I kept going, you know, I think music has something else to do. You know, it's not diversion for people who are getting drunk and smoking cigarettes at the time. Woo! And talking to each other. I think it has a different role to play. I have this feeling. And I was right. It has a lot of roles to play that are not about diversion and entertainment. That's fine. That's one thing. But then there's all these other things. So there was some inklings about this work there. And then when I was 31, my dad got pancreatic cancer at 67. And 3 months after, almost to the day that he was diagnosed, he died in our living room in my arms. And I hung out with him a lot. He was kind of a crank before he got sick, and then he got really sweet. It happens. And then I had 3 months with him, you know, as a sweet guy. And I was kind of like, well, should I be mad about this or glad about this? You know, that it took so long, and it took terminal cancer to finally discover that he had a heart. But we had a really great summer of love. And when he died, in that moment, I kind of went, that's it? That's the big scary thing? That's the thing I'm supposed to fear more than anything? I was really calm. I knew what to say and do without ever learning. And my story is that he took a lot of fear with me when he died. Because right after he died, and before he died, I'd written maybe 3 or 4 songs. After he died, just something opened. I don't know if it was the fear that left or he was helping from somewhere else. I don't even know. It just doesn't matter, and it's an interesting question that I still live in, what happened there. But I just, you know, made my 7th CD not long ago. I've written a lot of songs, and something opened in my life when he died. And so, and it continues to open. Continues to open. So fast forward, I was in a group of friends, and we had a series of unexpected deaths. We had a guy die at 52 on his way to work, 17 and 18-year-olds, a baby at birth, you know, 46-year-old. You know, we had a lot of death, 26-year-old accidental suicide, just a lot of death. And then at the first one, we're standing there at the hospital waiting to see if we should unplug life support for our friend Paul, and somebody turns to me and says, Barbara, do you have a song? I better have a song, right? So we sang together. And the daughter of the man who was on life support, everybody else was at peace with letting Paul go, except for his only daughter. She could not say yes to letting her papa's body go. And so we sang together as a community, and then we left, and she sang every Beatles song he ever taught her. And then she came out of the room, and she said, okay, I'm ready. And a couple of years later, she died. And we sang our way through that. So we sang our way through these unbearable things. And it helped us remember that we were together, we were in it together. And then every time the next person would go, we'd sing the same songs and go like, oh yeah, we lived through that. And that's how our ancestors all got through everything, right? It's how we metabolize our grief. It's how we reaffirm our connection to each other. It's how we connect to spirit collectively and individually. So I became the carrier of the song in that community, and we all sang our way through the intolerable. And found joy, strangely. And then we finally had some old ones die, for goodness sake. We had one at 81 and one at 93, and we sang our way through those too. And that really informed me. It's like, there's something about this that makes sense. And then I kept saying, one of these days, when I stop touring around the world, I'm going to start a hospice choir. Because I'd heard of this work from Kate Munger in the Bay Area. She's kind of the grandmother. She calls it threshold choirs. And I'd heard of this work, and I thought, I want to do that with a group. And finally, I just decided I'm not going to wait one more minute till I'm ready. I'm going to ask for help. Amazing for a German with parents from Iowa, right? It's like, I don't have to do it all myself. So I asked for help. I got a grant. I applied for one grant, and I got it to help us sort of fund the beginning, to pay me for my time and a couple of coordinators to set up some systems. And that was 8 years ago this September. And we began. I'd been leading community singing for many years, so I just put the call out, and about 30 of us showed up at a park, and that was the beginning. And we're men and women from very many walks of life, some very trained singers and some people who are not trained. We do ask that people carry a tune, because they can't get away from us. They're stuck with us, and they're laying there in the bed, and we want to bring something beautiful. So we do ask for people to be able to carry a tune, because they can't get away from us. But anyway, so that was the Morning Star Singers. It's the best work I do, and I love everything I do. And it gives a context for everything I do. Everywhere I go, I talk about death now. I do corporate training, I talk about death. I do voice workshops, I talk about death. I do keynote speeches, I talk about death. I do concerts, I talk about death, because it's what we have in common. Everyone in this room is going to be walking through that door at some point. And we don't know enough about how to be with each other and ourselves in that reality. And then when the chips are down, we just do our best with our lack of education, most of us, our lack of experience, our lack of thinking about it, and we outsource it to professionals who do their best. But in our little choir, we're also aware that we're being of service to our community, but we are also getting ready to die and to help each other die. Bless you. And being in the reality of that together with an open heart. And that is worth doing, because there's so little conversation about this in the world. It's starting to come. And about taking back the dying process from the professionals, to use them, like home birth has been a huge movement, to say, you know what, this is a natural thing. You could maybe do this at home, like most humans have through time. Likewise, there's a whole movement around dying at home and having this professional support that experience instead of take it over. So that's the story. And we made a little CD somewhere along the line. We're in our third 1,000. We've reprinted it twice already. And we did that mostly to be able to leave it behind and to spread it around, so that once we go sing for someone, they can keep hearing us. And that CD has helped sing a lot of people over and then through the grieving. So it's a way to sort of spread us. Thank you. Mwah. Bye. Spread us a little more widely in the world, and we don't have to be everywhere. So that was a really joyful process as well, to create the kind of the greatest hits. So that's the story of how I came to this work. One more piece. We're on call, and we sing at a long-term acute care hospital twice a month because we weren't getting many calls, strangely. Lots of people are dying in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but we're not getting called as much as we would like. And so we ended up creating a relationship with a hospital. Hi, come on in. There's a chair right there that just got vacated about 10 seconds ago. It's yours. And it helps for people who have day jobs and need more reliable scheduling. And so we kind of carol all year round, and a recreational therapist walks around with us, and there may be, there's a group that goes through a little extra training so they can do that. And she escorts us around and kind of checks out to make sure that we're wanted in the room, which is very nice. We're not just like, we're here to sing for you. And that is also a very blessed work. We could go into a dozen rooms, a dozen stories, and I've called it like spiritual taekwondo. You just walk in and it's like, okay, somebody just lost their ability to walk. Okay, somebody's in a coma, somebody's on a vent, somebody's going home after 6 weeks in the hospital, somebody's, near the, at the very end of their life at 95. And, boom, 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 boom. And we just show up and bring a song or two and then go from room to room and then leave feeling strangely elated, mysteriously elated. So that's the other piece of our little choir. Any questions with that huge download? Okay. Let's sing. One of the things I was very clear about at the beginning of this choir is that we were going to do all oral tradition singing, or 99% oral tradition singing, for the major fact that when we are with people, wherever we are, we want to be with them, not like this. And when people have paper in front of them, they go more to their heads, right? And there's a way that when we're singing in the oral tradition, we listen with our skin. We depend on each other more. And we pay attention better to each other and to what's happening in the room. So one of our very first people we sang for was a woman who was very near the end. She was doing those sort of boomerangs out and then back, and then boomeranging out. She was not speaking anymore. But we were watching, and there was these little flickers in her eyelashes, and then her feet started moving in time. And if we'd been looking at anything but her, we would have missed that. And then a little smile, This is so tender, so sweet. So I like the oral tradition all the time, but especially in this kind of singing. We remember the songs differently also when they're oral tradition. So we don't do very many things that are complicated. Because you know what? Complexity is not usually useful in hospice. Pretty basic stuff. So we're going to do some of that here today. And then there's a few songs that have a piano because I play. And we enjoy that too. So we'll make use of this beautiful thing. So let's do this one. This one's a relatively new one. Are you leaving us? Oh. Okay, good. Great. I'm not going to do that. I guess I shouldn't do that if people are going to say, no, I'm going out to pee. All right. So this is a relatively new little song I learned last year at the community sing out, camp out village fire, which is where I'm going tomorrow, up in Decorah. Woo! See you there! Woo! 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 Who else is going to village fire? Oh, we are just going to rock it. Okay, so it's just a community that gets together. We just camp and sing and eat and dance and get ecstatic. And it's supposed to rain a lot. Oh, well. But I learned this there, and the words are from the great Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh. And I don't know who wrote the song, the music to it yet, but I keep teaching it, and somebody will tell me. And here's the deal. It has 3 different parts. I'll teach 2, and then I'll take the 3rd, okay? So I'm going to teach all of them, And the thing about oral tradition singing is we make a lot of mistakes. And that's okay, right? We do our best, and then we forgive and carry on. So this is the first one, and you can pick whichever part you like. He's back, I've missed you. All right, so here's the first part. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so you know that one, that's easy. That's a drone. Easy win. Here's the second part. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Okay, that's the second part. I'm going to teach the third part because we're so big and so smart, we might as well. Okay, so here's the third part. When I breathe in peace. Try that. When I breathe in peace. Listen. When I breathe out love. When I breathe out love. I always notice when I'm teaching things in the oral tradition, the looks on people's faces, there's this like, you know? That there's this, usually we're kind of passive learners, just sort of like, you know what I mean? And there's something about, it's like if we were all dogs, our ears would be up. It's like, it's part of what I love about it. It commands us to be present, right? Now you've forgotten the song, right? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to move if you're able. If that's difficult for you, just bring a chair. And there's going to be a fourth part, which is acoustics. So we have a place for you too. Okay, so breathing in is going to be here, so come here if you like that. Breathing out. When I breathe in, it's going to be here, come stand here. I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. I'll teach these all again. When I breathe in peace. The blue fairies. And then the acoustics people are going to be right here. So come on down. And don't do anything you don't want to do. You're in charge of you. No, we got acoustics. No, there's always company, and if you were, it's fine. It's fine. You get to hear the whole damn thing. You're so lucky.
I am lucky.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this. I always love to see who wants what. Welcome, Patricia, darling. All right, so how you feeling? All right, bunch together in your tribes. Bunch, like a choir. So you're not a line, you're more of a bunch. So are you the, when I breathe, come closer. Are you the breathing in, breathing out people? Or are you the, when I breathe in, I breathe? You're that part? Come on over here. You're all together. Bunch. So you're like a little choir. And then you can kind of feel the body heat of the people around you. Bunch. It helps. Proximity matters. You look like a garden. Look at them. Aren't they beautiful? Great. All right. And thank you for being so brave. All right. Now, your job also is I'm going to ask a lot today. What do you notice? And I'm not looking for an answer, like a specific answer. I'm just interested in what you're noticing, right? What does this require of you? What is happening in the group? So it's like, what do you notice personally, but what do you notice in the field? Because so much of the hospice work is about the field. It's like walking in a room and sort of going, what's going on here? What's going on here? And we don't get much training in that. We get trained in how to, cough up the right answer or fill out the test. And we're so much of what I think calls us to this work is that we want to learn about that other thing, which is just collective intelligence and the field and wisdom and intuition and spirit and all those things, right? All right, you totally forgot the song. Take 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward, so we can hear. You two, darlings, come right here. And all right, and you're going to have that, what are you noticing question too, all right? Breathing. I know, we all love to hide. Oh, don't we? I know, and you're just doing a great job, Troy. We love your ambivalence. We just love your ambivalence. All right. Breathing. I think that's where we were. Breathing in, breathing out. Aren't they great? Breathing in, breathing out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, aren't they great? I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out. Keep going. Listen. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out. How'd we do that? How did you feel that? What happened? I didn't stop it. No, the clapping stopped because the song stopped. The song stopped.
It got quieter.
Yeah? It did. You could start to feel it, right? That's our collective intelligence. And it must be because we rehearsed so long. Right? Now, I lead community singing up home every month during the, not the summer, who cares, but in the spring, fall, and winter. And we get a great big circle, and we might have like anywhere from 15 to 80 people. Always a different group. And that happens every time. So yes, you're extraordinary, and you're not. But that is extraordinary. That is collective intelligence. That is collective intelligence, right? Because I could feel it's like the song just wouldn't go. And some of you had taken a breath, right? To continue? Did you feel that? There was sort of this like, there was some of the people, no, you didn't, great. Thank you for being honest. Love it. But there was this feeling like all of a sudden the song was done.
Well, we didn't have a decision to make.
No, that's true. You were in a different relationship with it.
But we heard it stop.
You heard it stop. And it stopped on a dime. There were no trickles. It was without trickling. No trickles. And do you know what? Last weekend, I was in Winnipeg with 350 church leaders from the United Church of Canada in a room full of tables, big barn of a room, huge, huge, huge room. And I got them singing oral tradition stuff like this. 350 people stopped on a dime. I don't know how that happened. So I got curious, and I tried it again, and it happened again. And it was a really vibrant, wild, kind of African song, really joyful song, and it did the Roadrunner stop. It was like, and everybody felt it, and we all cracked up. That 350 people who had never been in the room all at the same time decided together when a song was over. That is so cool. Okay, what else did you notice? Smiles, okay. Yes?
As we got more comfortable, we moved a little bit.
Yeah, there was movement. Yeah.
got into the rhythm with our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
You know, it was Carol's face, but she was just beaming. And when she smiled like that, I know where her son got his smile from, Daniel.
Yeah.
I noticed it was such a pleasure to hear the parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hearing the song, yes.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to do something like this where this is, why don't you have a seat? Have a seat, and we'll have more conversation just to get off our feet, because we'll be back on them again. Yeah, you become connected to something, to people in a different way. You belong to each other. I always know when I've sung with people. Like even if I ran into someone who'd like grown her hair out, and I'd spent the weekend with her at the at Prairie Woods, and she says, "Oh, I was there. I was at that thing," and I was like, "Oh yes, now I remember you. I've sung with you." Yeah. Come on in. We don't have any outsiders here, sweetie. Perry, good to see you, dude. All right. So here's the thing about this kind of oral tradition singing, especially when we're singing parts. It is just exactly what it takes to be an individual person in like a family or group, team, as a part of a larger whole. Because if all you did was pay attention to yourself, your anxiety, it's like, it's like your own little world and that's all. Well, you're going to miss some things. But then also, a lot of times what happens is like the groups get tribal. We are the best, ha, 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 and they get kind of tribal and they sing too loud and they forget the whole. That didn't happen today. That the whole thing, you could sort of feel that very soon we were all kind of paying attention to the whole. And part of that might be that you're from Iowa and you know how to pay attention and be polite. And some of it might be that a number of us sing and are used to that kind of listening, so we kind of brought that to the community. I don't know what it was, but I applaud that. That to be able to attend to the self, attend to the family, tribe, team, and to attend to the whole all at the same time. That's complex. And you can't just pay attention to one thing, because you'll miss something. And even as the acoustics people, you probably were paying attention to multiple things, right? It's sort of like, oh, what's happening with those people over there? Oh, wait, now there's the whole, where's the thing? We're always paying attention to more than one thing. And hospice work demands that. Hospice work demands that sometimes I feel like all we do is learn to pay attention. That's all we do. Compassionate presence and paying attention. What's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now? Right? Do you still hear the song? Kind of hangs around. All right. These are words that, this is a round. So that means we sing the same thing starting at different times, and it makes its own gravy, makes its own harmonies. And what's wonderful about it's like row, row, row your boat, And what's wonderful about a round is it gives you the opportunity to experience harmony without having to know a darn thing about it, right? And that is, I've grown up singing in choirs, so I've been living in harmony, my whole life, and I can't imagine living without it. That feeling of that vibration, that we're different but complementary. There's just yummy. So these are words that are hundreds of years old by the great Sufi mystic Kabir, who lived a long time ago in what is now India. And the woman who wrote the music lives in California right now. And she called it the Navajo chant because she thought the words were Navajo. And I was teaching it in California. And my friend Dinesh came up and said, no, every school child in India knows this. Would you like me to sing it in Sanskrit? It's Kabir. I said, certainly. So I have him singing it in Sanskrit in my phone. Different tune, of course. So I emailed Jody and said, wrong kind of Indian. Columbus wasn't the only one. Whoops. Geez. Anyway, that's the danger of the oral tradition, is that, you pass things along and they get, adjusted, shall we say. All right, so I'm going to sing the whole thing so you know where we're going. Some of you already know this. And again, you have a choice to be acoustics or not. And here's how the words go. Or here's how the song goes. Hi, welcome. Glad you're here. We're just learning a song. Tell us your first name, dear. Judy. Welcome. Glad you're here. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. So I did this on Sunday at the Unitarian Church. I taught the community that, and it was part of the children's time. And there's this beautiful little curly-headed boy, and he goes, and he's like, I don't like that song. It reminds me about death. And I was like, I am such an ass. Anyway, he got over it, but it was it was like, oh no! Anyway, it does speak about death. All right, so I'll teach it a line at a time, and if you need to cry about it, you just have at it. This is a safe place for emotions, right? All right, so here's the first line. When you were born, you cried. Try it. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced, and the world rejoiced. Good. Live your life so that when you die, live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. The world cries and you rejoice. So I teach this song everywhere I go, and kind of by several generations beyond me. There is an OBGYN in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, who sings this to every baby she welcomes into the world. Isn't that a lovely thought? And it's been sung at tons of funerals and tons of other things. So there's a lot of people singing this song with us, right? It's been taught a lot. All right. Now I'm going to give you the first half. I'll give you a little bit more. And here's the thing. Even when you don't know it, like Barbara just discovered, we do. Like, we already know the song, even if you don't. That's another beauty of the oral tradition. It's like one person, might get fuzzy about it, but then the community, the next person comes up underneath it, and so on. So we already know it. Woo! How many people already know this today? See, look, we got ringers. All right, great. So I'll give you the first half. When you were born, you cried. Try that. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced, and the world rejoiced. I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Have at it. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Do that one again. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Whole thing, let's do our best. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Is this low for you men? Yes. I thought so. We're going to do it here. Sorry, I have a low female voice, which makes a super low male voice. All right, let's just do it a bunch. When you were born, do your best, and forget the rest. Okay, let's just do it a few times. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. voice. You're sounding very good. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you All right, without me, off you go. When you were born, you cried. Good. And the world rejoiced. Good. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. All right, you're good. You're ready. All right. Do you want to stand or sit? Yeah, this is a kind of a song that requires a little more of a stance. Acoustics folks here. You're not going to do the we or you? Anyway, all right, we're going to divide relatively something around there, something around there, and something around there. Okay, we'll do 3 groups. And we're going to do it once together. And here's the deal. We're a big enough group that even if you're a singer person, you can step in and listen to the whole once we get it going, right? Don't everybody all leave because you're, there's that collective intelligence again. Oh, they can't afford to have me gone right now. But take the opportunity, come a little closer in again. Proximity matters a lot in this work of singing together, And then the other thing I want to do is I'm going to invite you to make it beautiful. And Mary and I were having this conversation in the car on the way here, that every time I've asked a group to make it beautiful, they know what to do. And that perfunctory and dead is the norm in this culture. It's like I'll do like C minus work, C plus work. When you were born, you cried, and the world, you know what I mean? That is not breaking a sweat. And in many other cultures, most of your people way back, when they spoke, they thought it mattered. Like the words, that you're speaking matter enough to you that you want to rewrite the bloody song. There's something about this. In the beginning was the word, right? In so many traditions, including many of ours, that mattered. And that when you sang something, it was like you knew that the sound was going to travel forever. So you made it count. Even when you were learning it, you don't have to wait till you know it to make it beautiful. You can do it now. Because, we could just die in a minute. We've all lived long enough to know that. You could just die in a minute. So, like it matters. And so I'm always pushing against the perfunctory, the lazy, the good enough, like the not bad. Oh, not too bad. That's what we say at home. Do you guys say that here? How you doing? Oh, not too bad. Very Minnesotan. Oh, not too bad. Can't complain. It's like, no! Give it to me. I'm terrible. I'm wonderful. So liven it up. Now you've completely forgotten the song. We're going to do it together at least once. And then I'll start you, and then I'll start you, and then I'll start you, and then maybe I'll do a fourth if I feel like it. And then the common heartbeat will be the thing. You can always do the right thing at the wrong time, right? So you could be singing the exact right pattern, but if it's not lined up with the common heartbeat, anyway. So I'll keep that for a while, and then we'll feel it. And then step in if you want a little exfoliating sound bath, right? Okay, here we go. Is this where we were? Is that about right? We'll see how it goes. You know what'll happen if we make a mistake? Nothing. 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 All right, together, here we go. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Like you mean it. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Like your hair's on fire, darlings. When you were born, when you were born, when you were born, you cried. All the different parts fitting together like a puzzle?
I noticed that, like, in 3 different times, we lowered our voice.
Uh-huh.
We got quieter,
Right.
and we did that, I think,
Yeah.
in the workshop.
Yes. It's easier. We were pretty far away from each other. That was one thing I realized I wished I had done, is gotten us closer, because I think we were having a hard time hearing the whole. And there's that proximity thing again, right? There's a way that when you're this far away from someone, it's very different to match and blend than when you're this far away from someone, right? So proximity makes a difference in this work. And it's tricky in hospice work because, I don't know about you, but, oh, have a seat. I don't know about, oh, there's Beth. Can we let her in? I saw Beth at the door. One of the things about the hospice work is, how many of you like being seen by strangers in your jammies? Right? You were talking about personal space earlier. Your superhero jammies. But are you leaving Spice Sweetie? Okay. We're trying to have one circle, and it's kind of tricky because we're so beautifully large, but I think we can. There's some chairs, open chairs here. Can you come in and join us? We would so love that. Oh, somebody, okay. I'm going to let it go. I'm letting go of the one circle. I'm bored with it. Okay. That's right, we're an onion. We have shifted from circle to onion. So one of the questions we have a lot when we're singing, and we do little labs in our choir rehearsals sometimes, where we'll put someone will bring like a nice chair, a reclining kind of chair, and one of our members will lay there, and we'll sing for them. And then they'll tell us what that was like. And I'll never forget, one time Valerie was the person who was in the chair, and we were singing, I've been waiting all the day long to see the stars in your eyes, this beautiful little round. And she was like, you guys, I'm feeling seasick. Every time I go sing now, I got Valerie right here. It's like, don't sway. Because, if you're on like a lot of meds and you may not be feeling all right anyway, to have a bunch of people, it's like, oh, thanks for that, So just those little things, or like, oh, it was a little loud, or I liked the blend, or, and then that also gives us a chance to experiment with, where do I put my eyes? Because to be sitting in bed in your pajamas, maybe, or in one of those awful robe things even, and you're not looking your best, and you're not feeling your best, and here come a bunch of shiny-faced strangers into your space, right? And surely it's by invitation. That's the only way. We don't force ourselves on anyone. That's helpful. But even so, there you are. And then they're all like this. Right? It's awkward. It's awkward. And at the same time, you want to pay attention. You want to notice things. When they're like in a coma or they're sleeping or something, that's fine. You can put your eyes anywhere. But when they're laying there, it's a bit awkward. Like, where did I put my eyes? And there's no right answer. Right? Because as soon as you say, never look at them, that's not the right answer. Or look, come in and out, all of that. Often when we're singing, one of our thoughts is, many of us have said, I want to be love in this room. May my face show love and compassion. And again, many of us here in the upper Midwest have dead faces. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy. I don't want that in my room. Do you know what I mean? And it's not Disneyland either. Love, prepare me. Hey, hey, great to be here. It's not a lounge lizard. But there has to be something in between there where you're animated and alive and that your eyes are saying, I see you. Your eyes are, your face is full of light. That's a lot of times what I hold for myself, and I don't know what it is for you, but it's like soft, soft eyes, warm eyes, kindness. May kindness be in my face and my body, my presence. And that is worth a lot. It's worth a lot. And for many of us, you know, it's not comfortable. I don't go to the hospital ever feeling completely like, oh, I'm going to the hospital. There's usually this like, whew, what's it going to be today? Whew. And there's only been a few people we've sung for where I had to just sort of fall in the arms of someone when I walked out the door. Only a few. And I was glad I was there with my friends. Yes, I know. I know. So there are all these little things that we've been learning about over time that surface, you know, and it's sometimes nice to have them surface in a rehearsal. But then we also talk at every rehearsal. We have a little business, you know, at every rehearsal where we talk about, well, how's it going? So that, I didn't bring this. I intended to bring this. Maybe I'll send it to Sarah and she can distribute it or something. Or you can just Google it. You can Google it. It's a beautiful piece by the great poet John O'Donohue. And he did a beautiful recording about death and dying. It's just this whole bunch of, it's best in his beautiful Irish brogue, of course. But it's a whole bunch of reflections around death and dying. And then he up and dies. You know, boom, like that. But one of the pieces that I've loved that we've used a lot in our community, in the Morning Star Singers, is this piece about get over yourself. This is not about you right now. You come into a room and you're nervous, you're insecure. Are you going to do it right? Are you going to be sufficient? Are you going to make mistakes? All that kind of stuff. And like, am I going to be grossed out? Because a lot of times there's smells and there's things and it's like, you know. And he's just saying, not right now, darling. Right now you're at the altar. And someone may need to say something so they can die in peace. Or they might need to hear something so they can die in peace. Or they might need to see you present and warm. He does it better because he's John O'Donohue. But I loved it. He says there's plenty of time for you to process your stuff later. Your insecurities, your shock, your own grief, the things that get stirred, because in every death is every death. And every loss is in every loss. Right? So I love his exhortation to say, you know, do it later. And that has helped me sometimes when I'm in the middle of singing for someone and all of my insecurity or doubt or trauma or grief or something just starts going, yap, 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 yap. And it's like, later. Right now, I'm with this person. Completely. And there'll be plenty of time for me to, you know, pick my scabs and do my own work later. John O'Donohue. Yeah, he's an amazing poet and writer and teacher who took a lot of Celtic Christianity and he's a former priest. He's a yummy head is what he is. So, how you doing?
Great.
You getting what you came for? More, please. Okay, we're going to sing some more. The other thing that's happened in our little community is songs have been born, which is so cool. And so this is one. We're going to, the Oakdale Choir sings this one, which is, as I said the other day, that's my Grammy Award. Those guys and gals are singing this song. So this came out of hearing from a friend whose daughter was gravely ill right after giving birth to her son. And she was fighting for her life instead of canoodling with her baby. Everybody got through that one. Whew. But when I was reading about it, my heart broke open, and this song came out, ready-made. I went to my piano, I wrote it down, I recorded it, I sent it to her, to the mama, so she could play it for her daughter, and everybody else was around this family. And I sent it to my choir, And then we sang it that night, and it's on our record, and it's become one of the ones we sing a lot. We do it with or without the piano, and it's called Surrounding You. And I have another story about this after we sing it. Ha! Let's see. It's in B flat. Okay, this is how it goes. I wish you courage for the next step and the next. I wish you peace in the middle of the storm. I wish you unexpected joy, strength to see you through, and a heart wide open to all the love surrounding you. It's surrounding you. I'm just going to keep singing this. Jump in as you can. Harmonize as you wish. All right? And here's the deal. This is the other thing we do at every rehearsal. After we sing ourselves in, we sing our names, we also say, who are we singing for tonight? And we've sung for family members, strangers, each other, the planet, the animals, Nepal. You know, we've just whatever. And we're absolutely sure that when we're singing in our rehearsal, we're not rehearsing. That's the work. There's no practicing. It's all the work. And that by our singing, we're sending these songs out into the world, because sound doesn't care about time or distance or life or death. It just goes where it's sent. So even as we're singing this, people may pop into mind. Send them a little. Yeah? They'll get it. They might have that little like, oh, I don't feel quite as horrible as I did a minute ago. Right? Who knows? Who knows if it's true or not? It's useful, as my friend Peter Block says. Even if it's not true, it might be useful. Okay, I wish you courage for the next step and the next. I wish you peace in the middle of the storm. I wish you unexpected joy, strength to see you through, and a heart wide open to all the love surrounding you. It's surrounding you. Do your best. Who already knows this? So we know. Look, there's this clack over here. All right. I'll sing. Jump in as you can. I wish you courage for the next step and the next. Peace in the middle of the storm. I wish you peace in the middle of the storm. Unexpected joy. I wish you unexpected joy. Strength to see you through. And a heart wide open to all the love surrounding you. It's surrounding you. I wish you courage for the next step and the next. I wish you peace in the middle of the storm. I wish you unexpected joy, strength to see you through, and a heart wide open to all the love surrounding you. It's surrounding you. You're getting it. I feel it. Let's again. I wish you courage for the next step and the next. I wish you peace in the middle of the storm. I wish you unexpected joy, strength to see you through, and a heart wide open to all the love surrounding you. It's surrounding you. Once more. I wish you courage for the next step and the next. I wish you peace in the middle of the storm. I wish you unexpected joy, strength to see you through, and a heart wide open to all the love surrounding you. It's surrounding you. We are surrounding you. Push send. Oops. good. Saltwater salutes. Those are good. We cry a lot in our little choir. It's good for us. One of the gifts of this community that I've been a part of that's had so much death, not my choir, this other group where all this dying happened, is that they were connected to the Waldorf, anthroposophical, Waldorfian, Rudolf Steiner stuff. And their tradition is to have the body at home on dry ice for 3 days from death, and you don't leave the body alone. So there's someone with the remains around the clock for 72 hours, and then there's a little something, and then they're either interred or, in our case, cremated. And I don't know what that does for the departed, but it has transformed our community. To get over the, you know, the horror movie junk about dead bodies. They're just there. And we've gotten so good at it now, somebody's like, okay, are you going to get the dry ice and you're going to handle the schedule and blah, 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 blah. We have a community coffin that someone made. I will be in it, presumably. It lives in Linda's garage. And we call up and say, okay, Linda, we need to give it. And then somebody gets the dry ice and we wash the body and prepare the body, and somebody is there 24/7, and there's flowers all around. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. When my friend Jack died, the only person who was crying at one point, you know, his widow was there, a bunch of friends were there, like putting flowers, and he'd been dressed and laid out, and it was gorgeous. And you know who was weeping? The guy from the Cremation Society. Because he brought the beer, you know, the thing to put the casket on, and he was like, what is going on here? He'd never seen anything like it. Where there was there were probably 12 people in the house, and people were over here singing, and someone was in there making some food, and there was a kid, you know, playing with his, Jack's shoes and making a little sculpture, and it was this beautiful place, this beautiful time. And I have found that to be the most healing place, to just linger and talk to each other and laugh and cry and sing and read poetry and just bring beauty to this. It's such a sacred time, and we rush through it. You know, it's like the one regret I have about my father's death is that we let him go too soon. My mom and I have had that conversation. We wish we'd washed his body. What were we thinking? She just kind of was so tired and so freaked out. You know, she just went, okay, he dies. I have to call the funeral people. And then these two young guys in matching ties showed up at the door. And I opened the door. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning and an August night. And it's like, you're wearing matching ties. You know, and they were like, well, we got a nutcase here. And it was the moment of horror was when they took him out. I wasn't ready. And he was 6'8", you know, so he was like hanging off the end of the gurney, and it was horrible. It was just like, ugh, bring him back here. And Mom and I have had that conversation since. And I learned, don't let go too quickly, if at all possible. So hang out. And I didn't know how to wash a body. I was with my friend Noma when she died, my friend's mother. And we were washing her body and kind of feeling our way, my women's group, you know. And somebody looked at me and said, well, thank goodness you know how to do this. You've done this before. And it was like, nope, I hadn't. But it didn't matter. There was this moment of like, and then we just kind of know how to do this. We just kind of know how to do this. We can trust that. What are you going to do? You can't hurt them, right? And we were laughing because we were like, okay, Noma, hold on, we got to get your arm in the floor. You know, it's kind of bizarre and sweet and heartbreaking and normal. And then we also, after the vigil, several times have gone to the Cremation Society. We all like caravan and have gone into the place where they put him and said goodbye at the door of the oven. Anyone else? A strong wind blows for somebody who's gone to the crematorium and been present at the oven. Hindu, yes. Anybody else been present? Yeah. Again, feels horrible and bizarre, like it would never, but then it's normal. It's like, okay. And then we went out for breakfast, right? Okay. I want to sing another song, teach another song that we sing a lot at choir, and I want to do this little activity that showed up one night. I was inspired by it because I know, again, we are all, Caitlin is here, right? And all the people we've mentioned, they're all here. You can feel them. They're all here. They're all here. And in our hearts, in our memories, in spirit, who knows? But they're here. I feel them. Do you feel them? Is that all the stories in the room, all the things that didn't get said, all the people all our teachers. So I want to teach this little song from Appalachia. And at one point, we'll just keep singing the chorus part. And I want to just invite you to say the names into the space of the people who've taught you about death and dying so far. Right? And you don't have to take turns. It can just be sort of like this. But we'll have all those names here, spoken and thanked in a way. It's a way of honoring the people who got us here, right? We still love them and we still have a relationship with them. All right, so this is a song. There are angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. There are angels, angels hovering around. Let's just try that again. There are angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. There are angels, angels hovering around. So let's just sing, keep singing it. Harmonize, please, if you know what that means. If you don't, just sing whatever comes to you. And then we'll just get it singing, get it going some more, and just as you're moved, just say as many names as you like and cry your eyes out. Let her rip, who cares? Okay, you ready? There are angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. There are angels, angels hovering around. Speak. There are angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. Kirsten. There are angels, angels hovering around. John Henry. There are angels hovering around. Lily. There are angels, Jack, hovering around. Nina. There are angels, Lucy, hovering around. Mary. There are angels hovering around. Paul. There are angels, Noma, hovering around. There are angels, angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. There are angels, angels hovering around. One more. There are angels hovering around. There are angels hovering around. There are angels, angels hovering around. Can have a seat. Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to leave a little bit when we catch a bus. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. How you doing? Moist. Yeah, yeah, moist. There have to be more places where we can weep without that strangling feeling and without everybody having to fix it. It's okay just to learn to be present. That's one of the gifts of the choir, is to be able to be present and watch people completely fall apart and stay present. It's like, oh, you are just wrecked right now. Bless your heart, right? So there's a couple more things I want to do, and I promise we're going to sing a really joyful song at the end here, because we have traveled in some difficult places together. Perfect timing. So, oh, I tell you, so many things that are colliding in my head right now. One of the things that that happened as a result of our little choir is one of my dear friends who's got a sister choir. We've spun off choirs, several of them. There's one in Winona, Minnesota that's run by my friend Jeannie. There's one in Rochester, Minnesota that was spun off by my friends Francis and Colette. There's a second choir in the Twin Cities that was spun off by my friend Connie. And so what's really sweet is that it's not that complicated. You know, you need a place to meet. You need maybe somebody to convene it. But, you know, somebody who will just, like, hold the vision for it. I don't direct. You can't, right? Because I'm not going on every sing, and it has to be a really self-directing and deeply listening community, right? But it helps to have somebody hold the vision, and like what Sarah did today. Just put a stake in the ground and say, we're going to have this conversation, right? And if only more people had shown up. What a disappointing turnout, right? And if only the right people would have shown up, right? People who were more open and sang better. Anyway, so it really helps to do that. You don't need a lot of songs. You could probably get by with You Are My Sunshine, Amazing Grace, you know, a few old hymns, and some things that are not religious, because there's a lot of people who aren't. You know, that sanctuary song, that's a winner, right? You don't need many. So we have 158 in our new book that one of our members just made. She's been gathering all the songs we sing. And the new members come in and they go like, ah! You know, am I going to have to learn 158 songs? It's like, no. Some of them just rise to the top. We fall in love with them and we find them more useful. You know, there's certain songs, like The Angels Hovering Around. We sing that one a lot because you see that it works. People find that really comforting in the hospital, you know, to know that there's companionship around them. So all you need is like a place to meet, a convener, a schedule, and a handful of songs. That's it. And then just cultivating your connection to each other, to listen and support and be generous and provide for each other what you're providing for the people you sing for. Because I know when we sing together in our rehearsals, it's not a rehearsal. We're actually supporting each other's good life and good death right this minute, which is what we just did. We've been doing for the last almost 2 hours, supporting that in each other. And that's all that's required. The infrastructure that we have, I'll tell you a little bit about that. We have 4 coordinators. Because I travel a lot, I can't be the person who's on, on the phone. We have a landline and an email box. There's some cards over there that describe, that we hand out to people in different places, so people can call on us. The coordinators rotate a week on, 1 week on a month. They pick up the messages every day from the email box and the phone. And then we have a little form, little intake form, so they can call the person back and say, who are we singing for? What are their spiritual beliefs? What's their physical state? Do they have any kinds of songs, music that they really like? All that kind of stuff. Goodbye, sweethearts. Thank you. And then we put out a call to our community of singers and say, okay, we need 5 singers on Friday, May 29th at about 6 o'clock. Anybody come? And it's always the right people, right? It's always the right people. And then those people show up a few minutes early. They gather someplace far, further, not in the room or maybe in the entryway or out in front, and they sing Sanctuary, so they can kind of feel, okay, these are the voices we're working with. We're all altos. Somebody's got to sing the melody, right? And then they go in and they sing for maybe however long. You can usually feel, if the person's going like, that you're singing for, it might be time. A lot of times people sing with us. A lot of times people cry. The caregivers, often it's as much for them as for the person in the bed. And the staff, the workers, are also very fed. So we always kind of hold that too, that we're, yes, it's about this person, but it's also about this person, all these people who are surrounding this person, like we just sang about. So we'll sing for a while. A lot of times we'll walk in and ask, would you like especially at the hospital, do you want something lively or would you like something peaceful? You don't say well, what kind of songs do you want? We get this I don't know, I'm sick. Don't make me work. But the energy's helpful to ask, would you like something soothing or something a little more lively? And then we sing, and then sometimes we leave a CD behind if we're, moved or not, or bring one back later. And that's kind of the logistics of how it works. We have a shared site where members can talk to each other, which is really nice because people can say, I'm asking for songs and prayers for my mother-in-law or for myself, or here's this really cool film I saw, or here's a song that I just learned, I think we should sing this, So that, again, there's a sort of shared leadership, as well as, having the coordinators communicate about things. So those are separate systems. Anything else? Music therapists. You surfaced that. Once in a while we get music therapists who get a little crabby and threatened. Like, turf. There's my turf. So there's a difference between what we're doing and what the music therapists are doing. The music therapists are trained, and they have an intention for the songs they're singing. They diagnose the situation, they look at the situation, and they bring a particular activity, song, something specifically for that circumstance. We are not trained like that. That's not what we're doing. No money is exchanged. We put a few bucks in the bucket at our rehearsal space. That's all of our expenses. And then when we need to reprint CDs, people fight over funding that from our community, right? So, and once in a while we get donations and we use that to, have a party once a year or something like that. We show up as volunteers, as the community, to say, we are here. We care about you. We are not a professional. We are not doing anything to you. We don't have an intention for you. We don't, and often we are some of the only people in that realm. Sometimes there's volunteers. Hospice volunteers are there out of, the same intention. We are just like that. We're there just to say, we care about you. And we're like the strangers who bring the community in. So I think sometimes it's helpful, because bless those music therapists, they've worked hard, and they're in tons of school debt, and they don't get the respect they deserve, because they're fluffy, you know what I mean, in the system. So I understand sometimes they really get it, but sometimes it takes a little explaining. about the distinction, that we're not there with a diagnosis, a prescription, a whole thing. We're different and complementary. So I wanted to surface that too. Okay, so I want to do a song for you that's brand new, that came out of this work, and then I want us to sing one more song. And if you have to go before that, do what they're doing and leave with our great blessing. So my friend Jamie is near the end of his life with ALS, 62. And I've been walking that journey with he and his wife from, they're in Arizona. And out of that broken heart came this little song. Living, dying man, you're through with making plans. Tomorrow is a place you will not see. We hate to see you go, even so we know mortality is clarifying. Death becomes less terrifying when you look it straight in the eye. Time to live, time to die. You're living, dying well, and all the truths you tell, when any hope you had has finally set you free. We are just like you. That's not the right verse. You've made it very clear, heaven is right here. Reality is clarifying, death becomes less terrifying when you look it straight in the eye. Time to live, time to die. Live and die, and friend, it's coming to the end. There's nothing left to do but love and let you go. We are just like you, we're living, dying too. And all the lessons that we learned will be there when it is our turn to live into our dying as we do. Thanks to you. Living, dying man, you're through with making plans. Tomorrow is a place you will not see. We hate to see you go, and even so we know mortality is clarifying, death becomes less terrifying when you look it straight in the eye. Time to live, time to die, time to say goodbye. Mortality is clarifying. Death becomes less terrifying when you look it straight in the eye. Thank you for hearing that. It's from my friend Jamie. So let's gather around the piano and let's sing something chipper. Thank you for your presence and your tears and your voices. 2 hours seemed like such a long time at the beginning, and now I could spend the rest of the day in your sweet company. Gosh, it's cold in here. May you breathe easy. May your heart be light. May you open your life to each joy, each delight. May you walk with assurance that your way is blessed. May you dwell in the spirit of yes. One word, one note, lots of harmony. Have at it. And some people might be sticking their arms in the air. That's because they're making the Y of the yes. So lots of Baptist harmony, lots of gospel goodness. Here we go. Yes, 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 yes. All right, I'm going to sing some more verses. You can ooh. Harmony, oohing kind of thing. May you know your beauty through your loved one's eyes. May you face every change with a taste for surprise. May you welcome each stranger as a treasured guest. May you dwell in the spirit of yes. Here we go. Yes, 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 yes. Sounds beautiful. May we hold all who suffer with loving care. May our being together ease the loads that we bear. May we take up the habit of happiness. May we dwell in the spirit of yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. That was
My pleasure. Thank you.